Hello, everyone. Today we have with us Simon White, co-founder of Local Blitz Marketing. Hey, Simon, how are you?
Great, good, doing good. Thanks for
How was Thanksgiving?
turkey douse.
Well, I
Turkey.
mean, thank you so much, for taking our time just one day after Thanksgiving. Really appreciate it and excited to have you.
Yeah, I'm English, so Thanksgiving really isn't a thing. It's just the fact that I live in the USA that I celebrate Thanksgiving.
Right, right. Well, Simon, before we, dive deep into questions and talk about marketing, it would be great if you could introduce yourself, and your company to our audience.
Yeah, sure. So I was an engineer before I did SEO. I had an SEO agency. I was electrical engineer for 12 years in the corporate world, and then in about 2008. I started to dabble with SEO for my own staff, and then natural progression is to do it for other people as well. So we've been doing SEO for myself and for clients since 2008. In about 2000, when was it? About 5, 6 years ago, I merged with another agency. So now I was just a one-man band. Now we've got 6 employees. So a relatively small agency, but we focus on local SEO now in the San Diego and across the USA.
Right, right, right. Well, tell us more about, your real estate investment side as well, because I know, that's also one thing that you do.
Yeah, I kind of started out with real estate when I left the corporate world, doing SEO for my real estate stuff. Now I just have a few rentals and a few the debt on real estate. So yeah, I don't do as much of that anymore. Most of my effort is focused on the agency, but I still have rentals and a few other forms of income from real estate notes, which is the promissory note when you buy and sell a piece of real estate.
Right. From the agency point of view, like, how does the strategy look from here? I mean, what next?
Well, with COVID, everything changed a little bit, but didn't change that much for us. I mean, we've primarily always been a referral based agency. We've got a lot of our business from referral partners. So we work with web design companies, social media companies, video companies, because all we really do is we focus on Google SEO, Google Ads. Pretty much that's all we do. We do some Facebook ads as well. And most of our clients are in the local space. So we get referrals from our existing clients as well. So, that's kind of what we do from a growth perspective, building our business. That's how we do it.
Right, right. Uh, I know, we've also spoken about it, like last time we met, like you like automation and, you are always doing some tests and, trying out new tools. Tell us about the most successful, marketing automation campaign you've run.
I think at the moment there's a plethora of AI tools for content generation and things like that. We've had some pretty good success. We've tested out quite a lot of them. The main one being Jarvis or Content AI that does a pretty good job. As long as massage the results, sometimes it throws out weird stuff. We tested GPT, which GPT-3, which Jarvis Content AI is based on, and that's good as well. But we've definitely been able to streamline our content efforts by using AI tools, and a lot of the tools we do use now for optimization of PPC campaigns and stuff, and SEO, they have a certain level of AI or machine learning built into them. So AI is the future for SEO. I'm pretty sure of that. And, we just continue to test out all the new AI tools that come about. Most of them are copies of one another. If you go to AppSumo, there's probably 20 or 30 versions of some sort of content generator. But we stick with the top one or two and test them out and get them to work for us.
Right, right. What does your SEO process look like?
That's a big question. Well, in a nutshell, we kind of have SOPs, standard operating procedures for our main tasks. We use a project management tool. Currently, we're using Teamwork
Mhm.
to allocate out our different tasks to different people. And that's the way that basically, we have a project manager tool, we have SOPs. That's our main SEO process. We have tasks for every major thing, on page, off page, content writing and stuff. We have somewhat somewhat comprehensive SOPs for the major tasks. Some of the smaller tasks, they don't really get much attention other than, this is maybe a quick video or something. Um, we also do focus a lot on education. So SEO is always changing. So we're a member of a lot of different groups, testing groups and stuff. So we always
Mhm.
keep up to date by, buying the relevant courses or attending conferences, which have just started to start up again after COVID. So, we like to keep it up to date with what other people are thinking about SEO, and we stay well educated as best we can.
Right, right. Any latest, test you did that you would want to share with our viewers?
I haven't done any tests for a while, but I'm in the SIA group and the IMG group, and they both do tests.
Yeah.
So many in there. This one of the big, I don't know if it's a big discovery, but entities are definitely a big part of on page now. Making sure
Mm.
you've optimized your page for entities, and making sure there's enough relevant entities on the page. I've seen some tests on that and make a lot of sense. And some of the tools that we use now help us with the on page and figuring out what entities are related to the main topic of the page. So definitely, that's one thing that's important for sure.
Right, right. Also talking about, planning, like doing on page. I understand, like a lot of people just talk, when they talk about on page, just talk about, having the titles, having the H1s and H2s. But like, when you look at a particular page, like how do you decide the overall outline? Or is there like a, particular technique that you follow which goes, beyond the just the titles and the headings?
Well, we use those, the four big ones, yeah, are the ones we use. And then, we try and use headers for main areas. Well, then, once we've created some sort of block of text, we'll then use a tool like maybe Page Optimizer Pro and stuff that helps us
Mm,
figure out what headings should be there, what other things should be on the page, because Page Optimizer Pro goes out and does all the heavy lifting for
right,
it. It looks at all the top 10 pages, and then it suggests you really should have this many H2 tags, this many H3 tags, and tells us what should be on the page. It also tells us, how many entities and what types of entities should be in there. So
yeah, yeah,
we use we use tools to make us just more efficient rather than going out and looking at the SERPs ourselves.
right. Have you used Surfer SEO as well?
Yeah, we've tried them all and they're all good in their own way. Surfer SEO is good. We like the sort of content planning tool of that, and
Yeah,
we also
yeah.
use that because we use that because it ties into Conversion AI, which enables you to also generate snippets of text, so we can
Yeah.
quickly generate at least a first pass piece of content for the client's website, whatever.
Right, right, right. Trying to rank for rich answers has a lot of value. How do you strategize for it?
Rich answers, yeah, they're the only ones we really try and go for are the FAQs, because we've been
Mhm.
able to have some success with FAQs. There's lots of other uh, types, but they're the ones we typically go for by just using, in the early days, you could just put FAQ schema on the page and
Yeah,
you didn't
yeah.
have anything on the page. But Google soon realized that people were manipulating that. So if you put the FAQ in text on the page and then you duplicate that in FAQ schema, quite often we're able to trigger the FAQ schema. Certainly on inner pages, on the home page, it doesn't work, of course.
Right, right. Refreshing an old page, versus creating new ones. What are your thoughts on it?
We like to, refresh the page if it makes sense. If we'll run it through some of our tools, and often one of the things we'll refresh is the entities and the entity density, comparing it to existing pages out there. But if we're starting to lose keywords, because we've noticed this on some of the big pages that we ranked a lot for, we start to lose keywords because Google has changed the algorithm. It doesn't want it. So we might take some of the keywords that we used to rank for and take them off onto separate support pages. They may be, people also ask type questions and things like that will then support the main piece of content. So we like to keep existing content if it's still relevant, because it's got some age in the SERPs. It's also maybe got some backlinks that new pieces of content won't have initially. So
Right. When you're doing a keyword research, how do you calculate the value of different search queries? Basically what I'm trying to ask is an exact match keyword versus a long tail.
Because we do local, we don't do a lot of that type of keyword where you really can look at the value. What we really care about is, does it trigger a Google My Business or a Google Business profile now?
Right.
So we want those keywords. So what will, there are one or two tools that will help you come up with that, but we will reverse engineer competitor triggering the Google My Business for, and they will be the keywords that we want to go for because we are local. So so we don't do, it's worth this amount. Typically we don't do that. We look at, does it trigger a GMB, because GMBs will be the biggest, or GPBs now will be the biggest generator of leads for local clients.
Right. Any trends you're observing now in Google business profiles, that is changing, when you're doing SEO? Earlier, I know that's a long time back, when you would just do you just optimize the profile page and do citations. But any trends you're seeing now?
It's definitely a little bit harder. Trends, I don't know. There's always something changing with GMB. I can't say I've necessarily noticed a trend other than I can't think of any off the top of my head. We just have always focused on the basics, and that's got us a long way, making sure the GMB profile is fully flushed out, and making sure we're getting our keywords in our reviews and in our Google in the actual description of the GMB, making sure our on page of our linking website is tied into the GMB itself. So. Right. So we haven't exactly answered that question, but that's our process. So, and it seems to work.
I understand. How have you seen link building change over the years?
Well, 10 years ago, we could just fire up Xrummer and GSA and blast any site and rank it. It was about 10 years ago, I think we could do that. Now that just doesn't work. Right. Not in the same way anyway. You can still use them, but in a different way. Now it's quality of links matter. The quality of the on page matters when you're linking to it. If you just link into a one page, a sentence page, it's never going to rank. But if you build links to a page that's already fully optimized for that keyword and you use relevant links, it's going to work a lot better than just blasting a load, a million Xrummer links like we used to in the old days and rank it for anything we wanted. Because it was all about the anchor text. It wasn't about the on page very much.
Absolutely. In your opinion, are press releases a great way to build SEO?
Well, for local, they work quite well. They're not the strongest sites often no follow, but we've had good success with helping the GMB, pop into the 3-pack, rank locally. So we use press releases quite heavily. Also, the added advantages, they help SEO, but also the client likes them. And if you promote them into somewhere like Yahoo or some of the bigger places, they seem to give a bigger boost. So some of the press release services we use, they get into Yahoo News or Bloomberg and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you don't get a follow link, but you get a no follow link. But there's a lot of ego factor for the client that when they get into those types of publications that they like. So maybe they don't help the SEO as much, but they help the client. They help you retain a client if you're client facing.
No, I understand. How do you leverage schema markup for local SEO?
Well, we do the basic schema for the organization and some of the service pages. We're not, there are some people out there that do massive amounts of schema. We typically don't do that very much. Typically because we don't need to for some of the niches we're in. We are testing some of the more, people call it advanced schema or very detailed schema that interlinks lots of blocks of schema. We're testing some of that out because I've seen other people's results that schema can really be useful. So yeah, it's on our radar for 2022. It was for 2021, but we didn't really get very far with it. We saw other people have good success, so yeah, we'll implement it where necessary. We don't do it on every site because it doesn't need it.
I understand. How do you see podcasts as a marketing strategy?
I have not used them. I think it's a good strategy. I know a few people over the last year or two, due to COVID, I think, have actually adopted podcasts. And I know several agencies have actually started to get clients from them. So for client facing, it's great. And I think for any brand that's, needed to reach a customer base that listens to podcasts, I think podcasts are a great way to go because people listen to them in the car and stuff. So I think podcasts are a good strategy if you can dedicate the time to putting the podcast together every week or whatever your schedule is. So I would encourage to do it. I'd like to do it, but I just don't know if I would actually get it done.
Right. Any special advice that you would like to give our audience that they can use and gain benefit from?
Well, the big thing for me this year has been use AI tools where you can, because they certainly will help speed up your processes. You don't have to spend a lot. If you go to AppSumo, one of those cheap tools, if you can't afford that $120 a month for content AI, they do a pretty good job. They will help you be more efficient with your content, and then look at making sure you on page is where we've got the biggest wins in the last year, and it's all with using the AI tools and using NLP tools to optimize the amount of entities on the page and making sure that it's Google recognized that it's very topically relevant. So using AI and NLP are the big things that I would suggest people look at for going forward, because I think that's the way Google is going, is more machine learning, more NLP, more of AI for everything they do. So learn and understand how that works. Right.
Well, Simon, in the end, I like playing a quick rapid fire, like 3 to 5 questions. So, just don't take time, and, whatever comes to your mind, just, answer.
Okay.
Are you ready for it? Should I start?
I'll try.
Well, just for fun. So, no pressure.
Okay.
Describe yourself in 3 words.
Liverpool English guy.
Good one. If a movie was made on you, what genre would it be?
Let's John Wick. No. that would be cool. No, I don't know that one.
Are you a morning?
Sci-fi is my favorite, actually. But I do like John Wick as well.
Are you a morning person or a night person?
More of a night person. I'm a bit of a hybrid now. Sometimes I wake up early to talk to people on different time zones, but generally I work till 10, 11 o'clock at night.
Favorite book?
I don't read fiction. All my books, my favorite book is probably this one at the moment. let's see, it's called Entity Oriented Search. So this is a good book if you want to learn about entities.
Right, right. Well, Simon, thank you so much for your time. It was fun having you, like a quick chat. Hopefully,
Yeah.
like we'll catch you some other time.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks.